This episode is brought to you by Snapple. Want to know another Snapple fact? The first hot air balloon passengers were a sheep, a duck, and a rooster. Ridiculous. Check out Snapple.com to find ridiculously flavored Snapple near you.
Welcome. First of all, welcome to the King CJ Music Podcast, where we normally try to talk about everything pop culture, music, and history. But like, it's weird, right? Because me covering this artist is in some way interesting. When I say interesting, I mean growing up, you see this person in media from Disney or Nickelodeon, right? And so, and that's in the more sense that we're seeing more people, and with the BET Awards coming up, it just kind of seems that this was kind of fitting. For many reasons why I think this was a fitting reason to like physically record this episode, which I think I'm going to do a great idea. But this person is the star of Victorious. And if I haven't given you the idea of who this is quite yet, let me just tell you, it is Victoria Justice with her song called Roar, which I think it's good when we focus on mental health, but like Men's Mental Health Month is this month, and I'm kind of late because I tried to put this episode like later. I realized that the BET Awards are in a couple of days, or this month, and it gets behind. So when I say that I have a weird connection, I just mean it's really ironic for me to cover this episode and talk about this song Roar for a multitude of reasons. And one of those reasons being I grew up, and maybe some of the people that are listening to me that are like under the age of like 20, you know, like Gen Z or X, you know, it's Victoria. So it's Victoria Justice. So we're going to talk kind of like firstly about this song in general. The reason this song caught my attention was that I was with a group of friends and we were talking about, hey, what are new songs we're going to listen to? What new songs are we going to listen to from female artists? And so Roar came up. And so when I talk about this first chorus, this bridge that she has done, this pre-chorus that she's done, and really this chorus overall is something that I do kind of enjoy about the way that Victoria Justice does this kind of style of music, right? Because we get this chorus that is it's an interesting pre-chorus, but it's a chorus. I'm laying down my walls, you know. I'm laying down my walls. I gotta let you know. I gotta know that you love me, right? If I let down my walls, I gotta know that there's like a mutual love or respect, right? Which that pre-chorus, the way that it's played throughout the song, is great. I think it's one of the best pre-choruses I've heard recently. But it's a nice chorus. I do like the way this chorus is set up. I do like the way it's presented. However, this chorus is, you know, through my awkward, through my messy, through my sad, through all my sexy, through my anxious, through my lovely, through my weird, and all my ugly, right? It's this thing, and I think her audience might have been maybe like a middle school, like people were reflecting on like their middle school, high school selves. And this in itself is interesting to me because I think Victoria Justice is, I believe, roughly in her 20s, or late 20s, early 30s, right? Which is like that emerging adulthood, like, and we're looking back on ourselves. And so when we get like a lot of people were awkward in middle school, a lot of people were awkward in high school, right? A lot of people went through sad moments, right? Like, yeah, it's this thing where, you know, people grew these lifetime friends, but at the same time, you know, if you've seen me through all of these moments, you know, it's interesting. And I think people, if I think if you ask somebody, hey, do you remember these awkward moments in my life? I think a lot of people say, yeah, I remember a lot of these awkward moments. And so that's truly what we get with this song. And it's not even a bad song. Like, it's not a song I'm like, hey, this song needs to be changed. It's good. And then you hear this verse, and this verse isn't almost a normal verse that we get from like a pop and R&B star. It's just tell me how you'll find your way under my skin. Like, how do you always find your way under my skin? But we hear this as it's almost as a song that people would use if they were just trying to get together, right? Because it goes, I wasn't ready yet to let somebody in. And a lot of people aren't, like, and through different stages of their life, and especially if they have their walls up, they're very protective, they're very cautious. They're not really willing to let their walls down and have like someone enter their life at different times in their life. And to a certain point, I don't disagree with that. I think that statement still holds fair. However, it does make me wonder, though. It does make me wonder because you hear these phrases, you hear these statements, you see people going through these phrases in their life, and it's true. I've never, and a lot of people, and I don't mean this in Victoria Justice's way, but she did say so. She had a hard time being vulnerable on certain TV shows that she did, on certain roles that she did. So we kind of see it here, but it's also the way that normal people can reflect on this and go, you know what? Yeah, I think there are times, right? And especially, there are certain times and certain people that people can be very vulnerable with, especially in a certain mindset. This is a little plug, I guess, would be the best way of saying it. But like me on Thursday Night Thoughts, and if this is your first time hearing me, it's a show that I enjoy, like being a part of. But like when you hear it, you can hear like the comfortability that I have with people, right? With certain people. But if you know me outside of that, it's not like a comfortability. It's just different parts of vulnerability that I can be with certain people, and it's just always great. So that's kind of like a short plug to go watch or listen to Thursday Night Thoughts. It's on YouTube, Spotify, yeah. But it's always interesting to hear this from artists that go, hey, you know what? I'm serious. Like, this is something in which I don't know. It's this song, this pre-chorus, everything about it, I do thoroughly enjoy. However, this second verse, I don't know. And I don't know if this is me being particular, because that just might be the case. It's just me being very, very, very particular in how I do things and how we roll certain things out. But I'm not all my hesitations out the door, showing you colors that no one's ever seen before. And to be honest, a lot of people probably haven't seen those colors from people, so they aren't aware that, hey, this is what people do when they're just trying to express themselves in colors. And to no one's fault, but it is true. And so it's definitely it's a weird episode to listen to. It's going to be a very difficult listen to, but I think for a lot of people it will be eye-opening. And that second verse is the main reason I'm saying it, because a lot of people don't want to throw their things out. And I'm a prime example. I think when people talk about music, they're too worried about different aspects of it, which I think, like I said, it's fair. It's fair. But it's like people are worried about too many different aspects of how they make music. And so I get that, because it happens. It happens to a lot of people. Like, it happens. People aren't aware, but it happens to a lot of people. So being a little bit vulnerable, I think, helps. But we got most of that in her song when she was talking about different objectives and stuff. So I think it's always great. I won't say it's something that like it needs to work, but it does kind of help. if you're going through something, it kind of does help to have someone that you know you can trust and get some guidance from. So I really hope you enjoyed the episode because I enjoyed making this. But it's like, to me, this song is an 8 out of 10, and it's only because the writing sounds great. I don't know who wrote it. But like overall, the production sounds great. I think the beat and the voice and her voice take a little few points off of it, but it does sound great, right? I enjoyed listening to Raw. I think Raw in itself, it's gonna be interesting, right? Because we're getting out of like Men's Mental Health Month, but it will be interesting to watch people's reactions to this. It kind of will. So with that all being said, I do hope you enjoyed listening to Royal Skinny J Music Podcast, where we talk about music culture and everything.